Good evening. It's great to be back with everyone again. Couple of liturgical notes before we get started. One, I will not be here next week. I'll be on retreat, our yearly obligatory retreat. So rest assured, even though I'll be gone, I'll be praying for all of you, and I hope you're all praying for me next week. We're still going to have Vespers. One of my seminarian brothers will be here in my place, so I won't be here physically, but definitely in my thoughts I will be, and hopefully all of you will be here physically, as we will still be meeting for Vespers next week. Just we'll have a sub. Secondly, with the great season of Lent, one of my absolute, if not my favorite season, which I'll get into on Ash Wednesday, why that is. As that kind of looms around, I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce chanting a hymn with Vespers. I hadn't started off with it before when we got this nice little Wednesday night community going. Because basically I was just trying to walk before we could run, but I think we have a very good idea of what we're doing now. And a very opportune time. We're going to start by adding the hymns there, so that'll be a nice little addition. Basically, it just starts right after the dialogue, prayers of the blessing and right before the psalmody, so that's where they usually go into. Well, as I mentioned before, Lent is just about on our doorstep liturgically. And if we were to imagine the 40 days of Lent as an almost stool we can put our holiness on, so to speak, then that stool is held up by three things. And it's those three things we're going to dive into tonight: prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. Why are those three things so central to this 40-day season we call Lent? Prayer. Prayer, in very few amount of words, is conversation with God. The Catechism quotes a saint and has a great quote there where it says, prayer is the soul's upward yearning for God. And I love that image because it kind of tells us which direction we want to go, right? We're hoping to go up. That's one of my favorite jokes whenever I walk into an elevator and someone asks, where am I going? Well, hopefully up. Prayer is the soul's upward yearning for God. It's the desire of the loved to reach out and commingle with the beloved. Fasting. Fasting is taking a little bit of a time out from something in our lives. A lot of people like to say, I'm going to give up chocolate for Lent, or I'm going to give up going to Skyline, or if I want to get fancy, Scalini's. I'm going to give up these little things, right? And those are nice and good little things to do, but as we kind of delve and go on deeper tonight, maybe that's not quite the focus we want to pay attention to when it comes to Lent. Maybe there's something deeper there we can really dig into and sink our metaphorical teeth into. And lastly, almsgiving. Classically, we see it as something we do every Sunday, right? We have a collection basket right there. And all these three things are good, but I tend to think they almost get diluted a little bit in our lives. We've talked at great length now. God bless you guys for hanging in there. We had 4 weeks on the cardinal virtues, right? Then we just finished up 3 weeks on the theological virtues. And if there's one thing we could say about them is that they're there to help us properly order our lives. Right? All these things are there to help us get to heaven, to help us be with the object of our soul's yearning, God. The cardinal virtues literally point us in that direction. And the same with prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. These three things which help us to attune the spiritual and physical to a greater invitation and a greater conversation with the Lord. Why are these things so important to Lent, for instance? Shouldn't they be year-round? Yeah, they should. But Lent takes on a special emphasis for these three things. Because here we have the season of Christ about to do the work his Father had given him to do. Where Adam fell, Jesus, the new Adam, will raise up sinful humanity. Where Adam failed in these certain things, the new Adam, Christ, says, no, let me show you the way to triumph over these things. We have prayer, which, yes, is conversation with God, but at its core, at its very deepest, it's about humility, to say to God, I don't have it within me to save myself. You, O Lord, are the provider of all good things in my life. Fasting is there to help us order our relationships to ourselves and each other. We are meant to love people and use things, but in this current culture, it seems to be almost reversed. To love things and use people. But fasting is there to pump the brakes, says no. Let's think about these things. Let's give up what might be stopping us from loving people and using those things as tools. Almsgiving goes a little further. It says, God, you've given me such great things. How can I give to others? And that one's almost like the trickiest of the three. It's tricky in that almsgiving should not be painful. Paying your bills, paying your whatever is due, right? That's called justice, which we've talked about. Giving the other what is due. And those are good things. But it's not meant to be easy either. It's not meant to be, here's what I can do. Here's the least of what I can do. Let me throw it in and not give it a second chance. Almsgiving should have that little tug of emotion, like, okay, I can do this, Lord. I can do this because you did that for me. And this Lent is such a great opportunity and time for us to really focus again on those three things: prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. To focus on not so much that we have this sinful stain of Adam, but that like Christ, we can triumph over our failings.